Once upon a time, not so long ago, there was a little girl, and her name was Emily. And she had a shop. There it is. It was rather an unusual shop because it didn't sell anything. You see, everything in that shop window was a thing that somebody had once lost, and Emily had found, and brought home to Bagpuss. Emily's cat, Bagpuss. The most important, the most beautiful, the most magical, saggy old cloth cat in the whole wide world. Well now, one day Emily found a thing. And she brought it back to the shop and put it down in front of Bagpuss, who was in the shop window, fast asleep as usual. But then Emily said some magic words. Bagpuss, dear Bagpuss, old fat furry catpuss, wake up and look at this thing that I bring. Wake up, be bright, be golden and light. Bagpuss, oh hear what I sing. And Bagpuss was wide awake. And when Bagpuss wakes up, all his friends wake up too. The mice on the mouse organ woke up and stretched. Madeleine, the rag doll. Gabriel, the toad.
Oh, look! Look!
And last of all, Professor Yaffle, who was a very distinguished old woodpecker. He climbed down off his bookend and went to see what it was that Emily had brought.
Now, what's all this? Bits and pieces. Broken bits and pieces of things.
No, nothing broken. Those things are not broken. Wait a minute. We'll fix them together. We'll do it. We will fix it. We'll unfix it. We will fix it up bit by bit. We don't mind at all. We will find it all. Find each bit and make it fit. Find each bit and make it fit.
Ah, yes, a turtle. Look, everybody, a turtle.
Oh, it's alive. It's real. It's nodding its head.
No, it isn't real. It's only a model of a turtle.
Are there any real turtles here?
Oh, no, turtles live a long way across the sea. At least I think so. Madeleine, do you know if there are any real turtles living around here?
Oh, no. This country is too cold for turtles to live out of doors. There may be some in zoos and special places like that.
Yes, that's right. The only turtles around here that I've ever heard of were very cold and sad and very glad to go home to Montego Bay.
Oh, yes. How did they go home?
Shall I tell you?
Yes, tell us. Yes, tell us.
All right, then. If you get the roll of turtle music.
Heave, 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 heave. The marvelous mechanical turtle organ.
Oh, I'll tell you of turtles who swam in a lily pond around and around on a cold summer's day. They sang of their loved ones of whom they were very fond in their tropical homeland so far, far away. Oh, the turtles they wept as they swam round their lily pool. We wish we could just see our loved ones one day. Said one, though you may think that I am a silly fool to go there by boat's a convenient way.
Oh, the turtles turned round and walked out of their lily pool to
of a red bus, they just held out a hand. Took a 10-penny ride to the dark land of Liverpool, and there they set sail for their long-lost homeland. Oh, the turtles were happy and shouted, away we go, their ship bore them over the blue briny sea, until they hove to in the Bay of Montego, and there all their uncles and aunts they did see.
What a pretty song. How nice. I did enjoy that. I do like a song with a happy ending. It was a lot of rubbish, of course, absolute rubbish. Turtles don't go on ships and buses. Turtles don't even weep. It's all nonsense. And in any case, we haven't fitted all the pieces together yet, have we? What about those other pieces?
We will tip it up, we will pick it up, we will fit it up bit by bit. We'll locate it, complicate it, find each bit and make it fit. Find each bit and make it fit.
Look at that. That's a little man. He's a funny-looking little chap, isn't he?
He's not a funny-looking chap, as you put it. He is a Chinese gentleman of great wisdom and respectability. I think his name is Huang Hai, and if I am right, he is the wise man of Ling Po. Yes, well, I dare say, but Bagpuss, you must think some Chinese thoughts for me.
Chinese thoughts? Oh dear, I don't know. I think I shall need a Chinese thinking cap to think Chinese thoughts.
Come on, let's find Bagpuss a thinking cap. I get a cap. Here's one. This will do. Yes!
Yes, thank you, yes. Now, what Chinese thoughts shall I think?
Yes, the wise man of Ling Po lived on an island. It was an island in the middle of a Chinese lake.
An island in the middle of a Chinese lake. How about that?
That will do nicely. I will begin the story. It was a long time ago. There lived on an island by a lake in Ling Po a wise man. He was very old and very wise, and all he wanted to do was sit beside the lake and think, and watch the leaves growing on the trees. His favorite companions were the turtles, who would come out of the water to sit beside him. The wise man particularly liked the turtles because they didn't talk or ask him silly questions. They would just bow politely to him, and he would bow politely to them, and they would sit in the sun. The wise man and the turtles would have been perfectly happy, except for the fact that there was a bridge between the island and the shore. And over this bridge would come the people of Ling Po to ask the wise man questions and bring him presents. The wise man was always polite to them. He usually thought their questions were silly, and he didn't really want their presents. But he was happy to put up with them until the day they brought him soup. Yes, one day a person came over the bridge to the island and presented the wise man with a bowl of soup. Now this person said it was exceptionally delicious soup. It was a new recipe. Everybody thought it was marvelous. It was turtle soup. Now it was many years since the wise man had been angry, but the thought that he was being offered soup made from his best friends displeased him so much that he threw the soup, bowl and all, at the grinning face of the silly person, and then drove him from the island with a big stick. The wise man was really furious. He said, "The people of Ling Po are stupid as well as silly. I will have nothing more to do with them. I will break the bridge so they cannot come to my island." Then the wise man took his big hammer and walked across the bridge. As he crossed each section of the bridge, he swung his hammer, thump, thump, and smashed the piece of bridge he had just crossed. Thump, 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 thump. The people of Ling Po watched him, and they were amazed. They had always thought of him as a wise man, and here he was doing something very silly. He was breaking his own bridge. When he reached the shore, the wise man spoke to the people. He said, "The turtles are my friends, and do you no harm. Please do not catch them and make them into soup." Then the people said, "Why should we do what you say?" And the wise man replied, "Because I am the wise man of Lingpo, and the turtles are my friends." Then the people laughed. They said, "You were once the wise man of Lingpo, but now you are the silly man of Lingpo, because you have broken your bridge." The wise man said, "I do not need the bridge any more. I shall live on my island alone and have nothing more to do with you." Then the people laughed still more. "How will you get to your island, you silly wise man? You have broken your own bridge." Then the wise man said, "I am the wise man, and I know many things you do not know. I tell you to stop catching turtles and making them into soup. And now I will go home." The people were still laughing as he walked down to the edge of the water. But they stopped laughing very suddenly when they saw him walk briskly across the surface of the water and step onto his island, without, it seemed, getting more than the soles of his feet wet. They said, "That wise man must be very wise and full of magic. We must do as he says." So the people stopped catching turtles, and the wise man lived happily alone on the island.
Oh, is that the end of the story?
Certainly. How else would it end?
But how did he walk back to his island? He wasn't really doing magic, was he?
No, of course not. Bagpuss, think about what the turtles were doing while the wise man was talking to the people.
Ah, yes, of course, the turtles, yes.
Yes, the wise man's friends, the turtles. They piled themselves up on the bed of the lake and made stepping stones just under the surface of the water. Then the wise man just stepped from one pile of turtles to the next, and as he stepped off, the turtles swam away. The people of Lingpo never found out what had happened. They thought it was all magic, and they never caught turtles again. Also, they couldn't cross to the island to ask the wise man silly questions. So he just sat beside the lake, thinking his thoughts and watching the leaves growing on the trees. Sometimes he would catch a turtle's eye, and then they would nod and smile to each other as they remembered how they had fooled everybody. But most of the time, they just sat in the sun and were happy.
Look, the wise man bows.
Of course. Chinese are very courteous and polite people. Now, mice, take them and put them in the window. So the mice pulled them to the front of the window and left them there, bowing and nodding to each other, so that if anybody who had lost a Chinese wise man and a turtle should happen to come past, he would see them there and come in to collect them. And so their work was done.
Bagpuss gave a big yawn and settled down to sleep. And of course, when Bagpuss goes to sleep, all his friends go to sleep too. The mice were ornaments on the mouse organ. Gabriel and Madeleine were just dolls. And Professor Yaffle was a carved wooden bookend in the shape of a woodpecker. Even Bagpuss himself, once he was asleep, was just an old, saggy cloth cat. Baggy and a bit loose at the seams. But Emily loved him.